attraction, just spinning wheels. Now.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Uberkooledgarage. Long time no see. It's been quite a little while since I have posted a video. I have been extremely busy. So there's been quite a bit of work that has gone on since the last video, but it's all little stuff, little projects that I've had time for. So this has kind of been spread out through the last couple weeks. We did get some new parts in the mail, so we should be able to continue on Ryan's car. Start getting into a couple other little bits and pieces of his car. So it's time to start finishing this thing up. Like I always say, I'm hoping that work slows down, but unfortunately it kind of seems like it's not. So I just got to keep trying to push forward and get as much done on his car as possible. The bug stuff, we'll get into that stuff here in a little bit, but need to definitely start getting in the garage more. As much as I can and continue finishing both of the projects. So let's go ahead and hop into this video. Got some pretty cool stuff in this one, so hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so went ahead and taped up this piece of paper. So you can see it's kind of wavy and stuff, but it gives me a great idea of what I was kind of going for the whole thing. You can actually see that it scoops. It's actually really hard to see that it scoops, but it scoops all of the air in. So part of the front grille will be further past. It'll come into like this area here, but anything from the outside will channel in. It'll force all of that air this way and hopefully push all of the air into the radiator. So these should be exactly the same on both sides. So what I'll end up doing is I'll end up taking the tape off, flipping around the actual pieces of paper, testing them out on this side just to make sure that they fit. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'll probably cut these out in metal. I will weld this inside on both sides, well, probably the outside on both sides, get that all lined up, and then I'll run a round radiused piece of Bondo in here just to smooth it. That way it gives it a nice flow transition. On the front, I'll probably do a 1-inch flange all the way around the entire front. And I'll probably foam back it, put foam all the way around it. That way it pushes on the actual nose cone when I put the nose cone on. So that way it's all nice and sealed. Still going to foam all of this stuff. As soon as I get this situated, I'll pull this off. I'll paint the entire shroud, put the foam in there, get all that stuff situated, and then we'll go ahead and get these welded in on both sides, and then we can start fitting the nose cone. I think what I might do is I might just cut the opening out for the little fresh air grills that were factory. And then I don't know if I'm going to enlarge them just yet or not, but we'll kind of see where everything lands once we get there. These openings are larger than the factory grills right now, so we'll probably open up just the grill section and then maybe open it up a little by little just to see what's gonna work out the best. So let's go ahead and get these cut out of metal, and then we'll get a whole bunch of stuff done on the front. Got my templates pulled apart, so now it's time to cut them out of metal. All right, so got 2 of each for each side. Cut a couple 1-inch strips for the outside where the filter or where the gasket's gonna go on there. So now the only thing left is to burn them up. So we'll go ahead and weld all this stuff up, and let's see if we can do this. Hey, what the hell? Well, that didn't work. Oh, looks like I already welded it in. So, got the majority of it welded in. Got the foam pad on there. So I got this welded in and this welded in. I'm gonna have to take the shroud out to weld that back section. Went ahead and tack welded the original fresh air vent in there. That way that'll seal it up. I'll go through and run some seam sealer around that. Also going to make a plate to cover off the rest of it down there. These were a lot harder to make than what I originally anticipated. You can see that it kind of goes back a little bit further than the fender itself. So this is actually going to get cut back when I weld in the front nose cone. So, haven't done the passenger side one yet, but I'll go ahead and show the process just because it was such a pain to make. That way you guys can actually see how everything kind of came together with it. So, figured that would be a better way to show you guys. So, after these, we'll start getting the nose cone on. So, let's build out the other one. Get them all sanded up and everything. Do the Bondo on both sides. Like I said, I'll probably just finger smear a Bondo radius in here on top and bottom. I'll probably actually use Bondo glass. That way it makes it just a little bit stronger, top and bottom. And then we'll go ahead and get the nose cone on.
finger paintings you bring home and they suck!
Alrighty. So, there's both scoops. The top matches up with the actual top of the original scoops. So, it turned out really, really, really nice. As you can see, I went ahead and painted a lot of the front of the engine, or the inside of the hood, black. I will be doing the bed liner all through here before I put everything back together. I'll probably leave the actual scoops gloss black. Like I said, they were not very easy to get together and get them all lined up where they needed to be. So it way more difficult. Wanted to show you guys how I got it done. I also went ahead and painted the radiator shroud in wrinkle black. So the wrinkle turned out super, super nice. Got that all set up. Kind of figured out my order of operations here. The nose cone probably won't go on right away. I'm going to end up setting the radiator and the shroud and all of that. The rear scoop that goes up and out of the hood, I went ahead and cut that piece of metal, got that in wrinkle black as well. We'll go ahead and get that installed, get a mark on the hood where the furthest point of the exit will be. So it'll probably be roughly back here somewhere. So we'll get a mark on the hood, and then after that, we can cut the scoops for the hood, get that all situated, and then I think the nose cone can finally go on. If I didn't do the hood exit right now with the nose off, I wouldn't be able to get in there to mark exactly where I need it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll mark it up. I'll probably put some painter's tape on the outside of the hood, send Ryan a couple different designs that I have in mind, and let him pick which one he kind of likes the best. But we'll go ahead and get that all situated, and then we'll start getting this nose cone welded back in where it needs to be, and we should be looking pretty darn good on the front end. Next, we'll probably end up hopping into wiring. I'm going to probably remove a lot of this rat's nest of a wiring harness, and I will probably paint or bedline the entire inside of the hood. I want to do that before we finish installing the gas tank, and then I can kind of go through, clean up a bunch of wiring, get it all out of the way, cleaned up, loomed up. That way it looks super nice in here. And then we'll put the gas tank back in, start fitting everything where it needs to go. And then this whole entire front should be ready to rock. So let's keep moving forward on this, and we'll start getting the shroud and everything set up. Well, the front's starting to look pretty darn good. The shrouding turned out awesome. The scoops ended up perfect. So you can see here that it lines up with the actual shroud itself, which worked out awesome. So all of that air will channel down this way. When I talked to Ryan, we are going to do 3 speed holes in the bottom to get a little bit more air up into the radiator. So all of this stuff turned out awesome. There should be plenty of airflow to the radiator. The exit shroud turned out awesome. So you can see I went ahead and marked my line. So that's the rear side of the scoop. That's as far back as I can go. So from that point forward, I'll cut the scoop hole. It turned out super nice. It blocked off everything down here. The original Ghia had a little, I believe it was the windshield wiper sprayer bottle, sat right in there. And then there was a block-off plate for the steering. And there was another one over here, which I'm assuming is for the right-hand drive steering. That way you can get to that, but you don't necessarily have to get to that ever. If you do, there's just 6 bolts that are going to hold this in. I still have to make the panels that cover this gap here. You can see my mark there. What I'm going to end up doing is I'll end up tucking the electrical up in the corner, and I'll loom that and all of that. I'll probably have to extend the wires to tuck it down to make it super nice and neat, but I'll probably just P-clip those up on both sides. That way when you look in the engine bay, you don't really see any wiring too much, or not in the engine bay, in the hood. But that all turned out really cool. I have a foam strip here that'll seal off the back section. That way, if he needs to put anything in here, it should still all be sealed off from the elements. So now that all of this stuff's done, I'm gonna go ahead and send him over a couple things. We'll cut what he decides on, and I'll make these side panels, and then we'll hop into electrical. So front's looking pretty darn good. It's just about time to start getting the nose cone on. All right, so cut the hood. This is kind of temporary. Still have a little bit of trimming and stuff to do on it, but I sent pictures over to Ryan. Really liked the design. It actually turned out really cool. It looks really good. So you can see down there the radiator. So these holes that I have drilled here are for the plate that I made. It's actually an inch back further than that. So after sending him pictures, we decided that we're going to cut the vents out longer. That way it makes kind of an easier transition. It's not so tight. So as you can see, this plate here. So we'll go ahead and cut probably just past those, transition it down, see how it looks. I'll send him pictures again, and if he's happy with it, then we will go ahead and finalize that. We'll end up making some radius pieces that fit in here. I don't know if I'm actually going to flat plate this one and just make this all one section all the way through, or if we want to create dividers on both sides to keep the radius exactly the same all the way through. And then there will be kind of a gurney flap that I'll make that will kick the air up above this, which creates a suction on this side of it. So we'll go ahead and do that. So with the bigger scoops and this scoop, this should have some pretty good airflow. So we'll go ahead and cut these out bigger. I'll send pictures to Ryan real quick and figure out if he likes it. If he likes it, then we're good there. We can start getting the nose cone placed into its location, get it all welded up, body worked, and primed. And then we can move on to other bits and pieces of the car. So let's go ahead and cut this more, and I'll show you guys when it's cut. Well, we went ahead and cut quite a bit more. You can see the openings a lot bigger now. It all is nice and open. So after sending Ryan these pictures, we decided that we're probably going to take it back another probably 2 inches or so. So we'll go ahead and cut this further back. I'll start getting the sections to plate off each side to bring in a nice radius, and then we'll go through and fill those in. That way it has a radiused edge, kind of like we did with the front scoops. So do that on both sides. I am going to have to notch the plate that I had made to block everything off. So we'll notch it just in this section here to bring it down. That way it kind of flows with the hood. And I'll put another foam strip in there. That way when the hood closes, it'll seal off the back section of the hood from the front. So we'll go ahead and we'll notch out the plate. I'll probably have to repaint it, which is really not too big a deal. And then with the way that it flows, the actual face of this might actually sit flush with that rear plate that I made. So it'll actually work a whole lot better. So we'll probably cut this stuff in the next video, get all this stuff situated, start getting in the side plates and all of that stuff, and we'll probably start getting the nose cone on. I also got the rear pan halves in the mail the other day, so we'll start cutting out the floor in the next video as well. So we'll keep moving forward on this and get this front end put back together. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you on this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Definitely looking forward to getting more stuff done on Ryan's car. It's starting to turn out pretty darn cool. So I really love how the hood is starting to look. And once we get the front nose cone on there, the radiator function should be extremely good. It is a small core radiator, so we'll see how cooling works. It should do okay, since this is basically the same radiator that I ran in mine, but this one is a dual pass, I believe. So hopefully this works out all right. He definitely has a lot more airflow to the radiator and exiting the radiator than I did, and I didn't really have any problems with mine. It definitely got warm, but it never overheated or got to the point where it was worrisome. So we'll keep an eye on it once we get the car running. So in the next group of videos for Ryan's car, we're gonna start getting interior stuff done, start finishing up wiring stuff, and just start finishing all the little bits and pieces that it needs. I am still currently looking for somewhere to get the radiator pipes from. I'm probably going to end up calling around to a couple different companies here locally to me to see if I can order some aluminum pipe. My regular supply place closed down, so got to find a new source for that stuff. So we'll start getting into all that here shortly. We'll also be getting into the bug more, so look forward to both of those projects getting closer to being done. So until the next one, peace out, guys.